What's up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. 5-5. You know what it is. Alright, so y'all already see where I'm going with this. Y'all see the article. You see it. Eddie Hearn has warned Andy Ruiz Jr. to face a rematch with Anthony Joshua in the UK or face a huge legal mess. Now, if he's saying to face him in the UK or a huge legal mess, Eddie Hearn is just basically saying that they have come to the grips with they want to do the fight in the UK. And to be perfectly honest, I said whether he wanted to do it in the States, the UK, or Timbuktu, North Pole, I really don't care. It's all about what Anthony Joshua wants to do, where he feels comfortable, where his headset is, and where his mind state is, because he owes nothing to no one. He has always done what everybody else wants him to do. So it's time for Anthony Joshua to start doing for himself, because doing what everybody else wants to do, I'm sure contribute to the loss. I'm sure it contribute to the fury of his father on fight night on June 1st. I'm sure it was contingent upon the weird headspace he was in. So now, where we're at now with Anthony Joshua, just like he's the ambassador of William Hill, he needs to be the ultimate ambassador of his own life and his own journey. You know, so in Anthony's journey, I feel as though he should grab the bull by the horns and do what he must. Now, see, I've made several videos already saying that, you know, people talk all of this bullshit who have no idea on how business works, talking about Andy won the championship, Andy won the belts, he should have all of the say in the world. Why shouldn't he be able to pick the venue? Why shouldn't he make more money? He was a voluntary step in, pulled up off the bench, Michelin tire man, had no name, nobody cared about Andy Ruiz. Only hardcore fans such as myself knew who Andy Ruiz was. I elaborated on the dangers that Andy Ruiz possessed, and so on and so forth. Andy Ruiz didn't bring no belts. He couldn't even fill out a fucking venue on his own. He was fighting on the undercard of other undercards that I've said on other videos. So in what way does Andy Ruiz get to pull strings? And if you are a heavyweight championship fighter, if you are a champion fighter, excuse me, why wouldn't you cover your own asses, since the whole mission is to get those belts, become champion of the world, unify the belts, and have the keys to the city, so that way you can dictate the pay and everybody under you and have those little advantages when it comes to contracts, considering you're the one who sends off the contract, and they should be thankful enough to get the shot. Andy Ruiz, thankful enough to get the shot, and he ultimately ended up winning the belt. So with that being said, when dealing with contracts, if anybody is absolutely clueless as to why Andy Ruiz is the B-side, for one, he is not a bigger star than Anthony Joshua. For two, even though Andy Ruiz has the belt, there is something in place called a rematch clause, and there was already a percentage split in place that Andy Ruiz already subjected himself to signing to, and he knows the contract was fair because it was more money than he ever seen in his life. So if Andy Ruiz got $7 million this fight, the percentage was up of, I think, 10 to 15% on the rematch if Anthony Joshua lost. Also, the venue was to be picked by the champion, which was Anthony Joshua when he signed the contract, considering the rematch clause for fail-safe preventative purposes if Andy Ruiz lost. So Anthony Joshua, from what I'm hearing, grumblings is that they want to do the fight in the UK, considering it's going to be the biggest fight of the year. And why shouldn't he? He came in the U.S. Backyard the first time to fight, and he didn't come in the U.S. backyard for Andy Ruiz. He didn't come in the U.S. backyard for Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He came in the U.S. backyard because he wanted to close Deontay Wilder in. And all he did was run and put up phantom contracts with Tyson Fury and Luis Ortiz. And coming to find out now, the dates that he had in place, those were so much of a farce that fight might not be taking place till November, December, along with Tyson Fury, so they can line up their supposed rematch for next year. But here's the point I'm trying to make about Eddie and the legal ramifications. And I don't feel bad for Andy Ruiz, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he's talking too much shit. This kid was humble, A week before he got the goddamn belts, wanting to hold him, being all giddy, little Snickers kid, big smile, everybody loving his aura. And as soon as he got them belts, I feel like he lost sight of himself because the camera's in his face and it's a bunch of LDBC yes men and a bunch of people around him at the PBC probably giving him this cocky attitude, whereas in he believes that he can just flex however he wants because he won the belt. And of course, Al Heyman is going to try to make it as try to make this situation as disgruntled as absolutely possible for Eddie Hearn, because the simple fact that they don't want Matchroom to have the belts. They don't like doing any dealings with Matchrooms, and they're going to refrain from doing it as long as they can until my last days and until the end of time, for as long as Matchroom and the PBC exists. So Andy Ruiz, you already signed your name on the dotted line. So you are preventing the match from proceeding to go forward. But the thing is, now it's getting to the point where, hey, buddy, we're almost 2 months into this shit since the fight. You know what I mean? We're rolling up on August. Y'all got to be back in the fucking press conferences and stuff like that by September, no later than the end of September to get this thing rolling. So you're holding up the processes and you sign paperwork and you don't have any leverage, and all of the shit you're saying on TMZ, the smart shit you're doing on Twitter, trying to make fun of him training, putting a little robot up there and all of that shit. That's why Anthony Joshua said, he who laughs last laughs hard. I don't think Andy Ruiz is really taking the contract shit serious. I don't think Andy Ruiz is really taking the fight serious, to be perfectly honest. I think he's riding the high and the euphoric feeling of winning the belt so much he still hasn't come down yet. He doesn't know what fame lives like, what fame looks like. He got his little $7 million, buying houses, buying cars. His fucking ego is so big he can't even sit behind the motherfucker in the movie theater. So that is just a problem. But the fact is, if he faces legal ramifications for not going through with this rematch, you know, one of those things that could happen to Andy Ruiz is the fact that he will not get to fight again. Those belts go up in the air for a unification match with probably two other individuals, and he gonna have to pay hella fines out the ass, and he's just gonna get sidelined by boxing, period. You know, I mean, hey, shit. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. So I think Andy Ruiz if Andy Ruiz thinks all of these, and this is another thing that I wanted to bring to y'all attention. If Andy Ruiz feels as though he is so much better than Anthony Joshua, and he feels like he'll beat Anthony Joshua any day, anywhere, it doesn't matter whether they fight in the UK or the USA anyway. Why are you afraid to go to the UK or where Anthony Joshua wants to go? If you beat him the first time, why can't you do it again? You want to know why? Because he knows that he can't duplicate the same success from the first match. So basically what you hearing in the undertone is fear, and you got a bunch of people over in the PBC put battery in his back trying to tell this man how to operate, which is ultimately going to lead to his downfall, and it's going to destroy his likeness with the media, and it's ultimately going to make him look weak. So really, you know, I think Andy Ruiz just needs to get the people in check around him, man. And I don't think people are ultimately boxers that are green don't understand how the PBC is the absolute worst choice to make, and all of the businesses and powers that be surrounded behind the PBC, and what it means to have those heavyweight belts in the stable, and what they're trying to do with Deontay Wilder. And they probably telling him some shit like, you know, if Anthony Joshua doesn't want to go with the venue and pay you this amount of money, you know, we can go with the A side and try to, you know, come up with some bullshit to where we can, you know, stop the Anthony Joshua rematch and go ahead with the unification match with Deontay Wilder. I think that's basically what they're trying to do, but that's not going to happen. You know, I think, you know, people are getting too ahead of themselves and they're not looking at the reality of the task at hand. Anthony Joshua has all of the power and the PBC don't have none, and that is the biggest problem, and they don't like the shit. They don't like the fact that Eddie Hearn was smart enough to secure his fighter's future, and the fact that Andy Ruiz is a PBC fighter, them not seeing this happen. The fact that, you know, Andy Ruiz is champion, they don't like the fact that Eddie Hearn can pull all of the strings. So basically, it's going to be media outlet and LDBC, Cock Goblin, Rainbow Coalition whore, one after another, trying to come up with every excuse as to why Anthony Joshua is a coward for not doing this in the United States, why Anthony Joshua's a sucker for this and for that. But the reality is, Andy Ruiz knew what he was getting into and should just be thankful of the opportunity. And regardless of wherever he has to fight, even if it's on the fucking moon in spacesuits with box gloves on, he should be honored to do that shit, considering the position he was in before was one of suicide. It was one of degradation. It was one of an individual who lost all the confidence in himself and didn't know where he was going to be. And he wasn't rebirthed through Al Heyman and the PBC. He was rebirthed through the opportunity that Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua gave him. So I think he should be a little bit more receptive and a little bit more respecting to that. And just stop fucking going against the grain, man. Understand that you signed a contract, you know the clauses in place, and do what you got to do and just get it the fuck on, man. Because that's what boxing is about, man. All of this little prima donna shit needs to go out the window. And the varying opinions of so many other people that just feel like they have a voice in this situation just need to sit back, shut the fuck up, let the pros do their fucking work, and we just sit back and wait for a good fight and hopefully to see this dude's head get punched off, because like I said, his ego is just through the fucking roof. He thinks he's bigger than what the fuck he is, and I just truly have a problem with that. So, hey man, that's all I got to say about the situation. As we always say, it costs you nothing to pay a nigga no mind. This is the Two Hands Up Show. I am the boss. Respect.